Yo, what is going on, boobs and dudes? This is X11 Yoda here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this is something that I don't typically do. I have not done movie reviews on my channel as of yet, but this is a movie that I really enjoyed, and I wanted to share my thoughts on it with you guys. So, right off the bat, I wanted to say that I loved this movie. It was funny, and I really liked how they flawlessly combined action and comedy. Like, it wasn't forced. Like, if you remember, if you watched Thor the Dark World, I felt like most of the comedy in that movie was really forced and it just didn't seem right. But with Guardians of the Galaxy, they really mix comedy and action together very, very well. And I just really loved this movie. As for the characters, I think my favorite would have to be Rocket Raccoon. And I know if you've seen somebody review this movie, or if you've seen somebody talk about this movie before, they would probably say the same thing. I mean, this movie was just made to love Rocket Raccoon. I mean, Bradley Cooper voiced him, who's a great actor, and he's a badass with a one-liner. I mean, he's a talking raccoon who has guns that are just ginormous, and he just says a bunch of one-liners, and he's hilarious. He was absolutely hilarious. Next, I'm going to talk about Groot. Now, Groot, man, he was absolutely hilarious in the movie. I loved Groot. He was probably, I'd say it'd have to be a tie for me between Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and Peter Quill for being my favorite characters in this movie, because just altogether they had the most heart in the movie, and they had the most personality, in my opinion. I mean, don't get me wrong, Drax and Gamora were great characters as well, but those three they really stood out in the movie. They were absolutely amazing characters. But I was talking about Groot. He had one line and he absolutely killed it. I am Groot. It was hilarious when he would, like, people would ask him stuff, he would just be like, I am Groot. And another thing was, like, they actually gave the character a lot of personality with other aspects, like his facial expressions, how he moved around, and just the things that he did. The character was given a lot of personality just otherwise, because you would think, like, a character that only says I am Groot, like, how would that work? But they did it really well because they gave him a lot of personality with just how he moves and how he interacts with Rocket and everything like that. It was awesome. I also felt like Groot was very relatable as well. Like, even though, like I said, he only had one line, you could just tell by the things that he did, that he was a sweetheart, and he had nothing but, like, kindness in his heart and everything like that. He just really cared about his friends, that being Rocket, Peter Quill, Drax, and Gamora. It was amazing, because he was just so, like, good-hearted and everything like that. I really, really loved Groot in this movie, like I said before. Chris Pratt, I think, played an amazing Star-Lord. He is the perfect actor to play Star-Lord, in my honest opinion. There's just no other actor that could top Chris Pratt's performance in this movie, because Chris Pratt is hilarious. If you've seen Parks and Recreation, you'll know what I'm talking about. He's just a very funny guy, and Star-Lord is also very funny in the comics, so he's just the perfect actor, in my opinion, to play Star-Lord. Now, the movie focused most on Star-Lord. He was the character by the end of the film that you would get to know the most, and with good reason. His backstory was very touching, very heartfelt, and you could really relate to the character because of certain aspects about his backstory, which I'm not going to spoil for you guys. And pretty much, I really love Star-Lord in this movie, and I would have it no other way for them focusing on any other character. Now, like I said before, my three favorite characters in this movie would be, my top three would have to be Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and Star-Lord. Now, Drax and Gamora, why do I seem to be kind of shadowing them? It's because it's not that I feel like they were uninteresting characters, because they were very interesting in my opinion. They were great characters. There was absolutely nothing wrong with them in my opinion. The movie did them justice 100%. However, it was just that Groot, Rocket Raccoon, and Peter Quill they were amazing characters, and they were just so amazing that even characters being just amazing were kind of shadowed, if that makes any sense. Like, they were all great characters, but just three were just so amazing that they kind of got shadowed out, which is unfortunate. But I will say, I loved Gamora's backstory. I'm really glad that they took from the comics with how Gamora is Thanos' daughter, and I really loved how they did that, because it was just one thing that's really badass is, like, Thanos is the most powerful being in the Marvel Universe, and the fact that Gamora is his daughter, it adds to it, and I really like that. So, like I said, Gamora, her just backstory is so interesting, and I would love to see a movie that just went more about what happened to her, because she is Thanos' daughter like she was in the comics, and I'm really glad that they took that over, because that's what I really liked about her, because, like I said, Thanos, most powerful being in the universe, and then there, his daughter. Now, the plot for Guardians of the Galaxy, I think what I really liked about it is it felt like more of a standalone movie. Recently, Marvel has been really trying to link their movies together, like Captain America leads into Avengers Age of Ultron, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 leads into The Amazing Spider-Man 3. If you watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and why I bring that up is because the entire movie, I think they took at least 20 minutes out of whatever the runtime for the movie was to set up the next movie, which was way too long. They spent way too much time setting up the Sinister Six, which I felt like was an extreme turnoff for me. That's why I didn't like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it was really risky. And I felt like what I loved about Guardians of the Galaxy, it was when I was watching it, it felt like more of a standalone film, It was really great how it felt like they weren't spending too much time setting up future movies. And even in the ending credits, like, that's the time where you set up your future movie, when you kind of show something for a future movie, like what they did with the Avengers when they showed Thanos. So, really great that they spent time just focusing on the Guardians of the Galaxy and not focusing on like the next movie, which has nothing to do with what's going on in the current movie. So really liked what they did with that. Like I said, the Amazing Spider-Man was so messy, the plot was so messy because of how they were spending too much time setting up future movies. So there you go, guys. That is my review of Guardians of the Galaxy. Really enjoyed the movie. My rating would have to be 9.5 out of 10. Absolutely amazing movie. Go see it if you have not yet. And yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Anyway, peace.